The crane operator named Ray returns home to receive his children, Rachel and Robbie, who live with their mother, Mary, and their stepfather, Tim. The couple leaves the children with Ray and departs from Mary's parents' house. Later, a strange weather phenomenon suddenly appears above the city, drawing the residents' curiosity as they look up. Moments later, a strong wind begins to blow. Everyone watches this eerie scene with curiosity, completely unaware that a disaster is about to occur. When the wind calms, countless lightning bolts suddenly strike the ground, scaring everyone to run indoors. Curiously, the lightning repeatedly strikes the same spot, a phenomenon that simply shouldn't happen. Although it doesn't last long, Ray discovers that the lightning has caused a blackout in the city, and all electronic devices are malfunctioning, with even the cars on the streets unable to start. At the spot struck by lightning, a deep crater has formed, and everyone gathers curiously to see it. Ray picks up a piece of debris to examine it, expecting it to be very hot, only to find that it's freezing cold. While everyone is puzzled, a rumbling noise suddenly comes from underground, followed by cracks appearing and quickly spreading in all directions. Although people are a bit scared, they can't help but stop and watch. The event doesn't stop there, as the cracks extend, destroying nearby buildings and causing the ground to shake violently. The entire area begins to rotate counterclockwise, rapidly forming a massive depression. The curious onlookers remain in place, only for the ground to suddenly swell the next second, as if something is about to emerge from below. Even the fallen cars are instantly ejected. Then, to everyone's surprise, a colossal mechanical monster suddenly emerges from the ground, its three massive legs rising dozens of stories high. At first, people are scared, but seeing that the mechanical monster doesn't move, they stay to watch, with some even taking out cameras to film. However, the strange giant monster emits a low sound and suddenly begins firing lasers indiscriminately, and those hit are instantly reduced to ashes. Only then do people react and start thinking about escaping, but no matter where they are, they can't avoid the attack. In an instant, the entire street is left in ruins. Having narrowly escaped, Ray returns home in shock, unable to answer the questions of his son Robbie and daughter Rachel. He quickly packs the essentials and hurriedly takes Robbie and Rachel to flee. When they reach the streets, everyone is running for their lives. Taking advantage of the mechanical monster's distraction, Ray decisively jumps into a newly repaired car and floors the accelerator, escaping while the mechanic behind him is instantly melted by a laser. The terrifying Martian tripod pursues them, terrorizing the two children. Before the city is completely reduced to ruins, the family narrowly escapes. The highway is full of stalled cars that can't be started. People have no choice but to walk, and only Ray's car is working and useful. Still shaken, Ray is certain that the thing attacking the city is not from Earth. It seemed to have been hidden underground, and the lightning storms awakened it. Ray wants to get as far away from the danger as possible, but Rachel, who suffers from claustrophobia, cries to find her mother, leaving Ray no choice but to drive to his ex-wife Mary's house. However, upon opening the door, they find the house empty, fortunately unaffected by the attack, with electronic devices still functioning. Unfortunately, no one answers Mary's phone, but Ray decides to rest there for the night and continue their journey the next morning. For safety, they plan to sleep in the basement, but in the middle of the night, a familiar lightning wakes them from their sleep, identical to the situation in the city, followed by intense tremors. They hide in the innermost chamber as a huge explosion occurs outside, and they narrowly escape. When dawn breaks, Ray cautiously goes out to check the situation, finding the house destroyed and the streets presenting an apocalyptic scene. He discovers that an airplane's electronic equipment was affected, causing it to crash there. Seeing survivors among the wreckage, Ray thinks they are plane passengers, but discovers they are employees of a TV station. The reporter tells Ray that these Martian tripods are not just one or two, as Martian tripods have also appeared in New York, Los Angeles, and even London. Wherever they went, nothing was left alive, as if their intention was to erase everything on this planet. Clearly, this was a disaster of global proportions. Just as Ray suspected, they followed the lightning and descended from the sky in some sort of high-tech vehicle, and the aliens that had entered Earth and the Martian tripods were aiming to invade the planet. While they were still talking, the news van driver suddenly heard the now familiar sound of one of the tripods, prompting the group to quickly flee from there. Ray also immediately started the journey to escape with his family, aiming to go to his grandmother's house in Boston to look for Mary. They assumed Mary might have gone there. Not long after, Rachel urgently needed to use the bathroom, leaving Ray no choice but to stop the car by the roadside. However, when Rachel went to the nearby river, she witnessed a terrifying scene. Countless bodies suddenly floated in the river, almost taking her breath away. Fortunately, Ray, worried about her, arrived in time to carry Rachel back. Then, the family continued on the road and drove until dusk. They finally arrived at the port leading to Boston, but it was already crowded with fleeing survivors. With people on foot, the vehicle was noticeable to everyone. The crowded mass made it difficult for the car to move, making this only operational vehicle the focus of everyone's attention. Some people begged for a ride, while others just wanted to know how the car was working. Extreme individuals even started to destroy the car, trying to stop it by force. Ray floored the accelerator in an attempt to escape but had to swerve to avoid a mother in the middle of the road and crashed into a nearby power pole. People swarmed, seeming about to overturn the car. They crazily, showing how bestial humans can be, broke the windows and even forced open the broken glass with their hands. Two individuals forcibly pulled Ray from the driver's seat and beat him without reason. Seeing that his children were also about to be harmed, Ray, in desperation, quickly drew a gun to stop them, only for one of the men to also pull a gun on him. Facing the threat, Ray had to yield. He took his daughter out of the car and handed over the vehicle. However, as they entered the nearby restaurant, away from the crowd, someone grabbed the fallen pistol and shot the person who had just stolen the car. In the apocalypse, the most terrifying thing is human nature, and for the sake of a car, someone would take another's life. Such incidents were continuously happening outside. This scene made Ray shed tears in front of his children for the first time. But, seeing Rachel and Robbie even more scared, as a father, Ray could only choose to be strong. After calming down, he led Rachel and Robbie on foot to the dock, where the crowd was even denser. Everyone wanted to escape this terrible place, not knowing that there was no safe refuge left in this world. While they were in line to board the ship, Rachel suddenly noticed movement on the mountain across the water. Frightened, she squeezed her father's hand, making Ray and his son Robbie look where she pointed, realizing a Martian tripod was already standing on top of the mountain. With a thunderous noise echoing through the sky, people in line immediately turned to see, only then realizing the terrifying Martian tripod was coming after them. The crowd instantly became agitated, and everyone desperately tried to board the ship. But seeing the dozens of people approaching, the captain, afraid of losing control, ordered the boarding bridge to be raised, even though there was still plenty of space on the ship. Fortunately, Ray and his family managed to squeeze onto the vessel. As more Martian tripods approached, some people, in their desperation to leave, recklessly clung to the boarding bridge. Seeing this, the kind-hearted Robbie ran to help, but the captain noticed something was wrong. A huge whirlpool suddenly formed on the calm surface of the water, as if something was about to emerge from it. In the next second, a giant wave rose from the whirlpool, and a Martian tripod emerged from the water, instantly overturning the ship. The survivors who had just rejoiced at boarding the ship were thrown into an even greater crisis. They barely managed to swim to the surface, only for two Martian tripods to start capturing people incessantly. In the water, they were helpless, just lambs to the slaughter. Fortunately, Ray, Robbie, and Rachel miraculously managed to reach solid ground. However, the crisis didn't end there, as more Martian tripods on the shore were frantically attacking the fleeing humans. Without a moment's rest, they had to get up and continue running to save their lives. Each piece of fabric falling from the sky represents a life taken. Finally, when people were completely exhausted, they received a moment of tranquility as humanity's military began to counterattack. The mountain ahead became a battleground, with tanks on the ground and fighter jets in the sky advancing, unleashing their firepower on the target. But, faced with a powerful alien civilization, human weapons were completely ineffective, unable to even break through the shields of the Martian tripods. For now, all they could do was try to buy time to protect the survivors behind them and ensure their safe evacuation. Naturally competitive, Robbie, witnessing this scene, also wanted to join the fight to protect his home. Unfortunately, Ray had no choice but to ask his daughter to stay put while he went after Robbie to prevent any reckless actions. However, no matter how much Ray tried to persuade him, Robbie was adamant, preferring to die there than to keep running with his father. Seeing his daughter about to be taken by a kind person because she had no parents, Ray reluctantly agreed to his son's wish. Ray rushed back to get his daughter, but when he turned again, he discovered that the military defense line had already been broken, and the cruel massacre had resumed. Seeing this, Ray quickly turned to run and eventually, with the help of a kind person, hid in a basement. It was clear that Robbie couldn't have survived what had just happened. However, the man named Harlan consoled Ray, telling him that he was sorry because he knew the pain of losing family members, as his own family had been taken by the Martian tripods. But Ray firmly believed that his son would find him in Boston. Unexpectedly, while they were talking, the ground suddenly began to shake nonstop, and it was discovered that the Martian tripods hadn't left yet. Harlan, having lost his family, wanted to take the opportunity to fight to the death with the Martian tripods, but Ray, to comfort his daughter, said that he only wanted to stay behind. But then, the outside suddenly became eerily quiet. In the next second, a piece of wood fell to the ground. Ray turned and saw that a Martian tripod detector had extended inside, its large eyes opening and the side lamps lighting up as it began to search around the room. Ray, hiding on one side, was almost discovered, but fortunately, a rat attracted the detector's attention. Taking this opportunity, Ray quickly called his daughter. They thought the Martian tripod detector, not finding its target, would soon leave, but it stayed there, unwilling to leave, forcing them to hold their breath and continue playing a game of hide-and-seek. However, Harlan didn't think the same way. He saw this as an opportunity and picked up an axe, ready to attack. Fortunately, Ray kept his cool and stopped his foolish action in time. But when Harlan went to join Ray, he made a noise that instantly attracted the Martian tripod detector's attention. Panicking, Ray quickly used a mirror as cover. The Martian tripod detector, seeing its reflection in the mirror and not noticing the three people behind it, turned to leave. But Rachel's foot accidentally slipped, making a noise that brought the detector back, and it managed to locate Rachel's shoe. However, when the detector came behind the mirror to check, it only saw the shoe. Fortunately, the group had already hidden on the other side. Observing the alien detector finally leaving, the three finally sighed in relief. But then, suddenly, there were ripples on the water's surface, and several figures emerged from the breach, forcing them to hide again. It turned out that several aliens had entered, curiously exploring everything around them, with one even drinking dirty water from the sewer pipe. Ray and his group constantly changed positions without being seen, blocking their view. But then, Harlan raised a shotgun, ready to shoot. Fortunately, Ray stopped him again. Because Ray knew that even if they killed one alien, they wouldn't get out alive. They held their weapons in a standoff, but the aliens weren't paying attention to it. The aliens played with an old bicycle, and a photo was passed among three aliens who looked at it curiously. When Harlan managed to grab the gun again, the sound of the tripod suddenly echoed outside. The three aliens, as if hearing some call, returned the way they came. Moments later, Ray and the others witnessed the horrific scene of a Martian tripod extracting the flesh and blood of a man, then, after processing it, spraying it around the land like fertilizer. It seemed the aliens were changing the Earth's environment using such a method. Witnessing this scene, Harlan instantly lost his courage for revenge and began murmuring something while incessantly digging a tunnel, hoping to hide deeper underground. Fearing that the noise would alert the aliens, Ray asked Harlan to be quiet, only to be met with Harlan's refusal. Knowing that this would eventually lead to their death, Ray made the difficult decision for his daughter's safety to kill the man who was about to lose control. After covering his daughter's eyes with a piece of cloth, Ray entered the room and closed the door behind him. After a struggle, he emerged victorious but more exhausted, and then stayed with his daughter. Exhausted, Ray fell asleep, while Rachel, still shaken by the events, couldn't find peace to sleep. Rachel sat up, but when she turned, she realized the Martian tripod's detector was already in front of her and screamed. Ray quickly woke up and stood in front of Rachel, using an axe to damage the alien detector by hitting it multiple times. After finally repelling the detector and turning around, Ray discovered that his daughter had disappeared. He ran outside to look for her, only to find the world tinged with blood red, as if he were in hell itself. When he found Rachel, he saw that she was being captured by the giant alien form. Chasing the Martian tripod, Ray found a military vehicle with some grenades inside. Determined, he threw a grenade, but it was repelled by the tripod's shield. With no means of resistance, Ray was also captured by the Martian tripod and placed in a cage on one of its sides. The cage was filled with people who had been captured, all in total despair, uncertain of when they would be turned into fertilizer. Ray saw his daughter in a corner, but she was already in shock. Meanwhile, the Martian tripod randomly chose a victim to turn into fertilizer. The helpless awaited death in despair. Shortly after, the Martian tripod started picking people again, and this time it chose Ray. Before being pulled up, Ray held a grenade in his hand and tried to do something before dying. Seeing a tragedy about to unfold again, a soldier quickly advanced and grabbed Ray. Influenced by his actions, everyone refused to stand idle, reaching out to grab the soldier, pulling desperately downwards. Eventually, with everyone's combined effort, Ray was forcefully rescued, and he managed to leave the activated grenade inside the enemy. The grenade exploded instantly from within, finally delivering a fatal blow to the Martian tripod, causing the cages on both sides to fall. The cage Ray was in ended up landing in a tree. When they got out of the cage, the Martian tripod had finally turned into scrap metal. The next morning, as father and daughter followed the crowd towards Boston, they found all the places they passed strangely quiet. The city, filled with the smell of gunpowder, showed no signs of the Martian tripods. The plants they cultivated using humans as fertilizer began to lose their vitality, turning to dust with a light touch. As they walked further down the city's streets, they discovered a Martian tripod destroyed next to a building, apparently having lost its utility the night before. Ray thought it was the army's work, but the soldiers said it had nothing to do with them. At that moment, another Martian tripod appeared in sight, staggering as if it were drunk. Ray, about to enter the shelter, suddenly noticed some birds perched on the Martian tripod, meaning its protective shield had also failed. He quickly alerted the nearby soldiers. The soldiers immediately ordered an attack on the Martian tripod. Without its protective shield, the Martian tripod couldn't resist human weapons and was brought down by a few rocket shots. A voice narrates that no one knew what happened to the aliens, but this provided a fate contrary to global destruction. As everyone cautiously surrounded the Martian tripod, they found the aliens opening the hatch from inside but dying in agony before they could get out. Moments later, Ray, holding his daughter, arrived at Mary's mother's house and was surprised to find them still alive. What made him even happier was that Robbie had also miraculously survived. Subsequently, scientists discovered that the aliens had died because of Earth's microbes. From the moment they arrived on Earth, they were completely exposed to a new environment. It was then that invisible bacteria began to enter their bodies through the air or water sources, slowly making them sick until they died. Humans, as natives born and raised on Earth, had long acquired immunity to combat the bacteria through prolonged evolution. The aliens could never understand how such tiny bacteria could be so terrifying. Nor could humans imagine that bacteria would save the Earth. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.